Hey there, future me editing this video. I wanted to let you guys know that I made this vlog, a long form vlog, that you could just kind of play and listen to while you're playing games or relaxing. And it's not like you have to just stare at the screen the whole time. Just something to hang out to. That's basically what this is. It's a hangout. So I just wanted to let you know that when you get into the vlog. Pale. Pale. I'm pale no matter what. This camera's whack. Okay, so I put my dresser in my closet. I moved my work table over here. It's blocking one side of the closet, but whatever. And I introduced... Oh man, how do I use the camera angle? Okay, I introduced my drum set. I reintroduced my drum set into my bedroom. The only parts of it, I'll get the rest in soon. I'm really excited to start playing again. During the Candida self-experimentation and all these other diet experiments, watching too much conspiracy videos, I didn't have any time for my one true love, which is music. I put music off for about 5 years and started learning about Nikola Tesla, reading more into adaptogenic herbs, and brought me to the point that I'm at now. I broke down and cried because I miss drums so much. I didn't realize I had that love for it. I sold my cymbals, some really nice cymbals. I sold them to buy the camera that I'm using now because I knew that the better investment right now would be YouTube. And I was so right, and I am really, really glad that I did it. Because you guys are awesome, basically. The comments section has been really, really positive, and I appreciate it. Really appreciate it, actually. Anyway, I don't have hi-hats because I sold those. I thought I didn't sell my hi-hats, and that's why I brought the drums in. Then I did. But it actually worked out, because now I can actually use this on my practice kit to keep time with my left foot. I like this practice kit. I've had this forever. And I'm reading out of Mike Johnson's linear drumming book. This is his first book. I remember the first day it came out. I give him props. He has gone so far in life. But I have his book and a basic drumming book and his other book. We can talk about that further if anybody's interested. But if not, I'll leave it at that. Yo Kyle, check this out. It's pretty intense. It's really hard though, but I'm getting it. I had it earlier. Oh, it's so hard though. Oh, it's so hard, but it's awesome. It sounds so cool. Possibly story time. Although you guys are donating to help me get to Mayo Clinic, I have a feeling that I'll probably need a little bit more money to get there. And thankfully, well not thankfully, my father purchased a drum set a while ago. Long story. So I'm setting up this drum set to hopefully sell. It's a Pearl. It's a very expensive drum set. This is going to help me save a lot of money to get there, if it will sell. The drum store actually wouldn't take it because it's so high end. They said they would have a hard time selling it. And they're phasing out drum sets. Suddenly they're just becoming only guitars and pedals and everything else, which is really strange. They used to have a whole drum section downstairs. I don't know why they would get rid of it. Maybe people aren't buying drums as much. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to selling this. I'd say I feel bad for selling it since I play drums, or used to, but I don't at all, because this right here is going to get my life back. So even though this is really nice, I really don't care. It'll be fun to play for a few minutes when I have the energy, but otherwise this needs to go ASAP, as soon as possible. I can't find the snare stand. I found the snare stand. The practice pad has taken it over. It was right in front of me the whole time. Where's Waldo? Right in front of my face. Story time. So while I work on this, I'm starting to sweat because of the sleep deprivation, so I don't have too much time left. But I thought I was going to be a professional drum player years ago. I was really dedicated to it. A studio drummer. I was in 2 bands when I was younger, and then I met a drum teacher named Mike Johnston. It was online, and I started studying under him. And so I was really devoted to becoming a drummer. And so this drum set was an impulse buy for my father's bipolar and other issues that I don't feel like going into detail about. But he bought it because drums and music in general have been in our lives our entire lives. There is not a single day that music was not involved in my brother's life, my life, and even my mother's life, indirectly. And so, I think I could say this. I have a family member. What is that? I have a family member that was in Bob Seger's band. And as kids growing up hearing that, we thought that was like the coolest thing ever, right? Yeah. His advice to my brother as my brother started his band was, don't be in a band, and just about crushed my brother's heart. But my brother was wise and didn't take his advice and joined a band. And in my brother's band, they were really good. The singing was a little bit different, but they pulled it off so well. It was really impressive. I would say that they were close to a Coldplay-like performance while live. And so music in my life was very, very serious. But, wrong head. Where's that? Oh, there it is. So music in my life was very, very serious. Though I had fatigue my whole life, and things always got in the way. I started a nonprofit organization called Feed the D, which was ultimately going to be called Feed the People of Detroit. And it was a hydroponic-inspired farm and natural organic farm as well. Kind of confusing, I know. I'm kind of okay with both styles of farming, I think. Maybe. It's been a while since I've thought about it. Anyway, where was I going with this? Yeah, so my health started to decline. I've always had health issues my whole life, which is why I became an herbalist to begin with. I moved out of home to a friend's house, and I brought my drums with me, and I kept playing. And actually, in the process while I was living there, I looked up an art school that I wanted to go to, because I wanted to be a graphics artist, or had some sort of inspiration for it as well. But anyway, I kept practicing drums, thinking that I was definitely going to do studio drumming, but my health just kept getting in the way. So I ended up moving back home, even though, I was about 18 years old when I left, and I kept going back home. I always went back home. But then I moved again to an apartment in a regrettable place. I had 2 options to where to live. One was the city of Waterford, and then another city was Pontiac. And depressed, fatigued, angry me at the time, young, foolish me, unwise at the time, decided that it would be a good idea to move to Pontiac, even though I had the opportunity to live just a few miles away from a church that I grew up surrounded by ish. So I missed an opportunity to hear the gospel of Jesus Christ more and to be surrounded by Christians, and ended up in Pontiac. So I guess God had different plans based on my decisions. And so the drumming stopped. I moved into a moldy apartment. Whole closet was black with mold. We didn't know until maybe a year or two later. The apartment has a mold problem down in there from the shower leaking into the closet. So you don't want to open that, or else it's pretty nasty. I kept going home because I'd never felt good there. Couldn't figure out why. Got an air filter, a HEPA air filter. And the HEPA really saved my life. I have to have this drum head on the right way for photographing this. I've got the Pearl sign, Pearl logo. Oh wait, I have the Pearl logo upside down. So the apartment was moldy, making me sick. Got a HEPA filter. HEPA filter helped a lot. I had a charcoal filter on it. Filtered out all of the cleaning chemicals that the people in the apartment complex were using that was seeping into the apartment. The place was just making me horribly sick. I was homesick at the same time, but I noticed I was getting really bedridden for days and hours at a time there. Way worse than normal. My normal health was just gone. And I'm like, this isn't right. But since I was homesick, I kept going home, and I noticed I'd feel better. And I thought it was just because I was at home. But I would sleep a lot when I got home. And then suddenly start feeling better. And once I started feeling better, I'd leave again. So I moved in and out of home, feeling sick, didn't know anything about lawsuits or attorneys. Typically have the snare handle on the left. That's why I had to move this. And anyway, I didn't have my drums there. And I was working on Feed the Deef. I was in Maximum Yield magazine and going to the Maximum Yield Garden Expo, the indoor garden expo with Maximum Yield. A lot of great people there. A lot of marijuana influence though. But nonetheless, really great industry, just gardening wise in general. It was a ton of fun. Unfortunately, Maximum Yield actually shut down probably a few months ago now, which was actually quite heartbreaking. But I remember in Detroit, everybody went in the Metro Detroit area, the Novi Expo, which I vlogged about years ago. I'll probably end this vlog tomorrow, Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday are the expo days, so then I'll probably make those separate vlogs on their own. Alright, so now I'm going to my parents' house to get some stuff, and the storage to get some stuff, Feed the D banner and print some things. I'm getting snapped. Can you imagine if you had to go every time you got a snap? Nobody would want to use Snapchat. What are you doing?
What? I was just tapping the wall.
Oh no. Good morning. It's public day at the expo, and it's time to move. See you guys at the expo. So I have this wind protector on my microphone, so I want to see if it works. It's pretty windy. If not, this is going to be terrible footage. So you guys will notice I don't talk in the event much, in the videos. It's because it's extremely loud and I can't. So a lot of this video will be awesome, epic music and time lapses. So I said it was really loud, but it's actually really, really quiet right now because it hasn't started yet. So I might talk a little, like I just did. This is crazy, guys. This is the most minimal amount of people you ever see here. Hey. It's going to be packed soon.
DFC Radio. We're down at the Maximum Field Indoor Gardening Expo with Brandon. Hey, the D. Sounds great. Thank you so much for talking to me today.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Let me see if I can show you guys the line out front. That is quite the line. That's wild. Trapping the crowd. That's better. Alright, that's enough for the time lapse. I need to get back to the booth. Exhale's busy over there. Taking stuff down now. It's over. Alright, we've made it. Now to find our booth. That's Exhale, our sponsor, and then this is our booth. I'm trying to connect them so it looks better. everybody would go there for handouts, some free products, but I don't think anybody was really connecting business-wise. I was. I got every business card from every single person, and then I emailed and called every single person on all of those. And coincidentally, the only one that really supported me just so happened to be Exhale CO2, a mycelium mushroom CO2 bag company. And Glenn and everybody were also very supportive of us, and they just so happened to be Christian, from what I could tell. Coincidence? I'm pretty sure he's a Christian. He didn't have to say he follows Christ for me to see that he did. So it always seemed like I was following in my life. But one day I was just too tired, and I posted to everybody on Facebook, and I said, everybody, I've got to shut down Feed the D. My health is taking a toll. I need to focus on my health. And my drum career that I thought I was going to possibly have in the process also fell, especially since I was living in an apartment and not practicing anymore. And things just went downhill from there, sort of. It's a little bit complicated. I started my YouTube channel. I think I was already on there, maybe. Yeah, I was, obviously. I vlogged the expo. So I started going into YouTube a little bit more and got a couple thousand subscribers and hundreds of thousands of views. And I was like, okay, this is something I should probably do now. Like, maybe I could become like David Wolf and talk like David Wolf, but make sure that I've got a little bit more science and not as new agey. But then I fell into the new age as well in the process. And so the drum idea was just completely gone. But herbalism and video game commentary on YouTube started taking over, and video editing and all that became the consuming aspect of my life. Became everything, actually. YouTube became my life. And so I thought for sure I'd do it at that point. And I knew how, I saw the opportunities, I knew what to educate people on. Funny enough, the gaming channel taught me how to speak, and then gave me confidence because I would scream on camera trying to be funny and everything else, but I wasn't funny. I had the screaming down, but I didn't have the funny down. My mom's saying, oh no. So my mom agrees with that. She was actually kind of supportive. She let me do it. Beep, 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 beep. Alright, I'm playing Gold Simulator. I think he has a halo on his head. Woo! Alrighty. Ah! Oh my gosh! What is he doing? Kick! Kick! Ah! Woo! I'm flying! I'm flying! I don't even know why I'm flying! Why do goats fly? Alright, I'm in the greenhouse now. I'm a farmer and I have a greenhouse. So, like... Oh! No! Not my greenhouse! No! No! What just happened to the goat? I don't know what I'm doing right now. Ah! He's doing crazy flips, y'all. Look at that. Are you ready? Alright. Ah! Ah! Ow! I missed the car. My life is ruined. So I had a lot of confidence from this comedy channel, which only a few people know about, by the way. And I never learned comedy, and now I can't because I'm so sleep deprived. I can't read comedy books and practice and all that. But then I also did Brandon Goji at the time, which is now Brandon's Health Journey. And Health Journey, I had to teleprompter some of my stuff. Some of you guys might not know that. And there's a reason for that. And it's not because I was cheating or anything like that. It's because I was providing so much information that it was not humanly possible to talk about all of it. The only way for somebody to talk about that much information is to be under a school-like setting. University-like setting with paperwork and everything else. But I realized that I could teleprompter some of this stuff and green screen it and everything else, and that's when these really wonderful videos came to be. And I love the format, and it was working, and I learned from other YouTube channels the style that I wanted to do and took some inspiration from them, and it was great. I was like, I'm doing this. And I started my herb store, Sungazer Herbs, and then out of the blue, after noticing that success was starting to come, my health took a total crash. That's when I got injured and everything went downhill from there. I actually had the chiropractor on my health channel a little bit, talking about how I liked the chiropractor and it was great, blah, 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 not knowing I was being injured by the chiropractor. And one thing that I've questioned, people say Ehlers-Danlos is rare, there's some articles coming out now saying that perhaps maybe it's not. And some of you might get angry. People in the EDS community get really frustrated when you go against what they think they know. I was sent this by a doctor that's aware of EDS, showing that possibly EDS is not as rare as we think. And where is it going with this? I'm very tired. Yeah, so where I was going with this is, I don't know why chiropractors that specialize in musculoskeletal anatomy are not educated or taught to screen people for hypermobility. Makes no sense to me. And with the vertebrae sticking out of my neck, you would think a chiropractor would have realized that it was too dangerous to adjust my neck. And then turning out that I have cervical instability and C4 is sitting on C5, I don't know how it was missed. And I hate to say this because I love the guy that was caring for me at the time as the chiropractor, but it was a lawsuit waiting to happen. And I didn't know much. I didn't know there was negligence involved. And it's frustrating because he helped me out in life a little bit and inspired me with the health stuff, but we both fell into the new age, and it was a total demonic spiritual nightmare at the same time. And so he was very friendly and, I don't know, all right guy, but he should have known better. And hopefully one day I get to talk to him about that. And I'm sure he's subscribed to my channel and might see this possibly. And he should have known better. Should have. My C4 is sitting on C5. And my vertebrae is sticking out. I don't know if it degraded worse over time, over the years, as I starved from the malls and my hypermobility got worse, or what. But you should have noticed that. And I say that calling him out, but it's something that I want you guys to know and be aware of. Is that if you are seeing a chiropractor, be screened for hypermobility. There's a woman that I heard a story of. I'm taking way longer with this drum than I would typically need to because I'm telling a story. There was a woman that I heard of that had EDS, I think. Maybe not. She got adjusted by a chiropractor and her lower spine got injured in the process. Just a normal adjustment. And she's paralyzed in a wheelchair because of a chiropractic adjustment. And this is shocking to me because I was somebody that was all for chiropractic care. And I invited friends, said you should see this chiropractor. I feel great because it was temporarily helping my neck without realizing it was damaging my neck at the same time. You're likely damaging it. And doing the extensions on that machine, pulling my neck while having hypermobility with cervical instability, loose ligaments, so stretching ligaments when they shouldn't have, which leading to more damage and risking damaging my spinal cord and vagus nerve. So you don't think something like that could be dangerous, and then it gets you thinking. This is a really long vlog, but whatever, that's all right. People are okay with that these days. How is it that people like Steve-O can do these crazy things? I know he has brain damage, obviously, but that's mainly from the drugs. But how can people like Steve-O do these crazy stunts, jump off of cliffs, skateboard, everything else, hurt themselves so severely, and be sort of okay? I say sort of because even Johnny Knoxville has some issues where even he needs I think he has a bladder pack now because of one of his injuries. But they did these crazy stunts to where if I did them, I would be dead. Can somebody please tell me how this computer chair made it on the market? Asking for a friend. It must be from Temu or TikTok shop. That one actually hurt. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and that was a really bad idea. I'm not doing that again, because I'm in a lot of pain now. But then again, there was a time when I owned a half pipe at home, in the back here, that I bought off of a friend, and we repaired it and painted it white, and it's real nice. Kind of regret painting it white. The skateboard wheel tracks and BMX wheel tracks were not very nice. But
one day I went to just do a 180 on my bike, and I rode off the edge of the half pipe, and my friend is sitting on the other side of the half pipe and witnessed the whole thing. And he's probably watching this right now. He watches my YouTube on occasion. Him and I grew up next to each other. He watched me literally just fall and flip and land upside down on the ground next to my half pipe. But conveniently, some way, somehow, there was a hole that I dug for an RC car track, I think it was. There could be other reasons for it, maybe some bike jumps or something years ago. But the hole that was there somehow saved my life. I literally went upside down. I don't know how. Lyme disease and whatever else. Whatever condition I have, infectious in nature that I believe. I don't think it's just EDS. I think the EDS is caused by infectious disease and poverty and hunger and all that stuff. I landed upside down and somehow didn't die. I edited out some of that video for detail purposes. And years later, I'm like, did an angel or God or somebody save me from that? And like, getting spiritual about it, trying to figure out what God's up to in his secret counsel and his will. And I'm like, man, that hole was there at the right time to protect me. And my friend watched it and he's like, what? What just happened? He said, I don't know, his reaction was interesting. He was kind of flat, but at the same time, flabbergasted. And I'm like, I don't know what happened. The problem was the half pipe was pretty small. I don't know, 6 feet, maybe? Maybe longer than that, or wider than that. And so I'm on a BMX bike on this thing. It's like the length of 2 BMX bikes. And so I didn't have much room to even turn as a beginner, trying to learn how to ride a bike on that thing, and it was risky. So I fell off of it and didn't even injure my neck from that. Not that I'm aware of. So I didn't really get injured. Meanwhile, you see these people like Steve-O and Johnny Knoxville and so forth that I wouldn't recommend Googling. Do these stunts. You guys know. Nitro Circus. All of you have seen Nitro Circus, or for the most part have seen them at some point. Do all these stunts and they don't get hurt. Meanwhile, a chiropractic manipulation to my abdomen almost kills me. And the moment I got injured, I started losing consciousness. So it's like, I almost got killed from that. Or arguably did kill me. With the akathisia combined. If you combine them, they did kill me. Collapsed on my bedroom floor and was just about dead. It just makes no sense. Anyway, I was talking about drums. And so, my brother plays drums. Quite successful with drums, even though he's a independent artist. And yeah, I thought I would get into drums, and all this other stuff happened in the process. Ow! And so in the process of being disabled and coming to Christ, I started preaching I wouldn't even say preaching, in my opinion, although the Lord would say otherwise. I talked to people about Jesus. Right? My health was bad, talked about Jesus. While sick, in hospitals. Wasn't preaching to me, I was just talking about him, right? And then I got into hand lettering art, which is graphic design technically, graphic art. And realized that hand lettering is probably what I should be doing. And then Chris Do, who is a typographer, graphic designer, probably a millionaire for the level of design that he does and all of the resources that he provides for people in education. He talked about how you can look back at your past and kind of see what lays out for you to make you who you are. And so I talked about Christ. I was surrounded by photography with my grandfather. I was surrounded by music, surrounded by my father doing graphic design on the computer in the motor industry, since we are by Detroit and GM and Ford and Pontiac, I think, is sort of around. And so my dad did graphics for the car industry, right? So I realized, with what Chris Do said, looking back at your past kind of is forming who you're going to be. And so my past was forming me to become a hand lettering artist, which I'm still being hypocritical about and not doing much of. But what I didn't really expect was talking about Jesus to kind of come into play. Even though I was in church and everything, on occasion. I wanted to skateboard and play as a kid, you know, a teenager with the limited energy and depressed and drama at home and typical, you know, drama life and drama at school, sort of. Struggling at school, not very educated because of the health issues, and truancy taking me to school because I was too tired to go to school, and I ended up dropping out. So my options were limited. One thing that I remember, I was playing drums and I was in a band at the time, and there was a drum off at school that nobody told me about, even though I was a drummer. And so everybody had their drum sets set up at the school, but I didn't. Nobody told me. I was left out. And I was in a band at the time, and everybody knew my brother as a musician and me as a musician playing drums. But I got left out, while everybody else at school that played drums was there. And I'm sure there were a few others that got left out as well. But I'm walking out of the school looking at them playing, and I thought about it. I'm like, why are they all invited and I'm not? And so, you know, school wasn't bad. I wouldn't say it was inherently terrible. But I didn't learn much. I didn't learn how to learn. I was too tired and depressed and everything else, and it just didn't work out. And then the only thing that I ever got a solid A in was art class. A little bit of drawing was okay-ish, sort of. But even then I wasn't paying attention in there. But I got an A because my father helped me with a class assignment. He opened up Photoshop and we made a drum logo. He made the drum logo and repeated it in patterns, right? And I showed the art teacher, and the teacher was blown away because graphic arts back then wasn't really a thing yet. So when the teacher saw this, she was just blown away at it, right? So I got a great giant A on that when I was failing at school because my health was failing me and it wasn't getting addressed properly. And we saw a Lyme disease doctor that I had seen when I was a kid. And so the story, there's just so much to my life to try and explain to you guys. It's very difficult to do. But the truancy of being dragged out of home in dirty clothes, not bathed or anything, and an officer taking me to school while sick, severely fatigued, depressed, and nervous of being around people because I didn't feel good, and an officer taking me, it was very traumatizing. And I didn't realize how traumatizing, and I had to kind of process it, but I realized that it did actually affect me. And then the kids at school saying, oh, Officer so-and-so, and it was Brandon. And then I'm like, why are they saying stuff like that? Like, I'm really sick and that's not funny. Coincidentally, one of my alleged friends, he was a friend, just not a very good one at times. He was a friend I grew up with and loved very much, but he said some of that stuff and it was very inappropriate. So I'm struggling with school with the truancy and it just didn't go very well. All because of my health. And so, became a teenager. My timeline is totally messed up here. This is like before the drumming, sort of, but part of it. But the drums reminded me of it, so I'll just say it in this order, it's fine. Where was it going? I'm tired. Yeah, I was going to say, I had a Lyme disease doctor that I saw when I was a child, and he wrote a letter to the school dismissing me for health reasons, which I need to call the school about, actually, and get those records, if they're still available. I dropped out of school in middle school. I wasn't getting anything done. I couldn't get myself to think in school at all. And then when I did, I did pretty well, for the most part. And the teachers were impressed, even I was in Learning Resource Center for, having a learning disability, which just so happened to be childhood trauma and chronic fatigue and depression. Depression caused by fatigue and health issues your whole life. But when I applied myself and was able, it was fine. Even my ex-girlfriend years ago, she knew that I had academics in me, and she knew I was able to be smart if I had the energy and motivation to apply myself. But I dropped out in 6th grade and became self-educated from that point on. I was sort of already into herbalism at that time. and I eventually grew more and more into herbalism and really fell for it, mainly because it gave me control over my health. I never had control over my health until then, right? It was real great. I love the herbalism and it helped me out. And then just didn't have enough money. Nobody ever taught me to make money, and I tried to, but with my health it didn't work out. I tried working with a friend and that didn't work out. I just never could. But then I discovered entrepreneurship and starting e-commerce websites and graphic design and all these things, and drop shipping and Etsy and my health channel and selling herbalism and everything like that. And then suddenly a whole new world opened up to me, which was leading to success, even though I didn't know very much. But at that time, you could be relatively generalized and still succeed. Even though I wasn't really generalized necessarily, I was kind of niche back then to an extent with the herbalism and everything else. I could have succeeded, but my health declined before I could really get into it. And so like, I even tried mowing lawns and made some money, and then that money was used to like purchase a guitar and to invest in myself, invest in herbs to sell on my YouTube channel and to run ads on my channel and things like that. And there was an opportunity in my life, right? Yeah, and then I really considered, you know, or wanted to sort of to be a naturopathic doctor, and then I got into what I knew I couldn't, and I was struggling to get my GED because my health was still bothering me and the schools were very not supportive. I tried to communicate with them that I wanted a GED, but I ended up at the school and they just gave me the GED test, and somehow they misinterpreted what I was saying, and that was frustrating. And so I just kept doing YouTube, and it was suddenly thousands of dollars are rolling in from a product I was selling at the time that I decided to stop selling. And then I'm like, yeah, I could do this. This is nice. And I got into, you know, entrepreneurship in general, print on demand and drop shipping or whatever. And I was slowly working on those, but I was mainly playing around with these e-commerce platforms. I just liked building the websites and having fun, and just tons of different businesses. So serial entrepreneurship is what I was starting to get towards once all this stuff fell behind me and wasn't very practical. I'd say probably not practical just simply because of my health, to be honest with you, because I had the right teacher that could have taught me how to do it professionally, how to play drums professionally. So I wanted to be a drummer. I forgot about this. My timelines are backwards, mainly just because I forget about things, but it's typically normal to do. There was a test at school that determined, it was like a psychology test. You answer a bunch of questions, and I answered them, and it actually told me to be an athlete. And at the time I was skateboarding, and I really loved skateboarding. It told me to do that. Talk about motivating. Yeah, the school validated skateboard behavior. That would have been cool, right? And you know, I was too disabled to do it, so that wasn't very practical. I'm pretty sure it said to do skateboarding. It told me to be an athlete based on my personality testing and the answers that I provided. It's wonderful. But something always got in the way. Always got in the way. I was in two bands. One that we played a couple shows at. What are the names of the venues? I don't remember the names of the venues. Like Clutch Cargo was one, I think, maybe. And then I don't remember them right now. Maybe I'll remember them later. I was a death metal drummer in the second band, unfortunately, and very demonic. But the Lord was with me somehow. We had some pentagrams on our trailer and my brother got angry, but I didn't even know what a pentagram was, so I was spiritually ignorant. I remember this one concert we played. The last song that we wrote was done so well that people started getting into it. I was observing the crowd while I was playing, And I'm like, they're not really interested in these first few songs that we're playing. And then we're like playing our last song to finish up the set. And I'm like, wait a minute, everybody's into this. They're really into this song. And I'm like, cool, we figured it out. This is fun. It got fun at that point. It was cool. Right? But I wasn't serving God, and it was a literal path to hell. And thankfully, although heartbreaking for me, the band members went off to college while I stayed home disabled, struggling with my health. And one friend in particular, he's an artist now, illustrator. I'll probably meet up with him if I get better. Be good to see him. Him and I got pretty close in the band. Not to say that the other band members didn't. The friendship that I had with him was very intimate. He was very patient with me when learning our songs. So this friend of mine in the band, it was actually tearful, to be honest with you. Heartbreaking. We became pretty good friends. They were all coincidentally from a Catholic school, but I think the Catholicism kind of pushed them away from God, to be honest with you. I asked one of my friends that went to a Catholic school that wasn't in the band if it drew him closer to God, and he kind of said the opposite. But they were very well educated from a Catholicism standpoint, from a Catholic view. But anyway, back to my friend. He was very patient with me in the band while learning our songs, and he learned my learning disability. I don't know how else to explain it. He just knew to be patient with me and to continually repeat the song, and I eventually learned it, and I wrote my own drums to the music, right? And he figured it out. He figured out how to work with me as a band, and so being in a band was very intimate in that way, and it was really wonderful experience, honestly. But they went off to college, all of them, and nobody really told me that they were going to college, except for one friend. I visited him at college, but we all eventually broke up as friends or whatever. But anyway, the guy that was really patient with me in the band, he didn't tell me that he was going to college, or at least I wasn't paying attention, which I wouldn't be surprised, so that's the reason why. I forgot this in the story, and I'd like to add this, actually, is that the band broke up because of college. The singer went to college. Doors open. Don't want to get copyrighted. So part of this story, band member went to college, the singer. The band started breaking up. But the guitarist that was patient with me, that I was pretty good friends with, friends with everybody though, him and I wanted to start a Grizzly Bear inspired band. And so we were trying to figure that out, right? And he was patient with me and didn't get really far with it. And then I didn't know that he was getting ready for college. And I was hanging out with him once in a while. And then one day, I drive off to follow him home. I don't even know why I followed him home. I forget. Must have, I don't know. I just did. I don't think I went in his house or anything. I don't remember why. Maybe I brought something home for him. And out of the blue, my friend looks at me and he's like, I'm going to college. And I'm like, huh? And he said, I'm not going to see you for a while. I'm going to college. And he was like, should we hug or something? And I was so confused. I had no idea. This was the last time I was going to see my friend, and I had no clue. And so we hugged and said goodbye, and I drove home confused. And it wasn't until a lot later that I realized that my good friend was gone and the music was gone. And today, now that I really think about it, it's heartbreaking. But I messaged him on Instagram, and he's still around. He's traveling in Europe. He was in China for a while. Good to know that he's doing okay, and He's a successful artist from what I can tell. He didn't talk very much, but he's around, and like I said, sounds like we might meet up with each other one day once he gets back home. I really doubt he'll stay out there. And so, I lost a really good friend. Not to say that I lost necessarily, but you know what I mean. He's not in my life. Strange. We're different. I'm sure he's still a metalhead. I'm not. I like Phil Wickham and acoustic music and drums, acoustic drums. I did buy an electronic drum set actually before I got sick, and was going to play some metal music with a friend that I met on YouTube. And I actually made some friends here on YouTube. But one in particular was a really good friend of mine named Kevin. What's up? I know you're watching. I keep losing the rag that I'm wiping these down with. Yeah, so I was going to play some metal drumming for him, and it had been years since I played, so I was trying to practice again and get back into all that and relearn how to play. My brother noticed some mistakes that I was making, or a mistake that I was making, and then it really bothered me and I wanted to resolve it, right? And then slowly, over time, my health started getting worse and things started happening while I was thinking that I was succeeding with my YouTube and everything. Some of you might be confused right now is, how is this guy a health guy with a health channel, but he got disabled? Why couldn't he take care of his health? It really wasn't my fault. Didn't have the leadership. I didn't have godly people in my life. I didn't have what I needed in life. I didn't have anybody to correct me. I had no direction. Except for really my conscience and my ignorance in life was what protected me, to be quite honest with you. My mother to an extent, and Bob Duco, who was an apologist on WMUZ radio, he kind of kept me in line a little bit too, to an extent, even though I fell into the New Age. But back to, how can this guy have a health channel and give out health advice? I wouldn't say it's health advice in any way, shape, or form, actually. It wasn't health advice, actually. I was reading about the benefits of supplements and publications about supplements and trying to apply them to my own life and share them at the same time and turn it into a business at the same time. So helping myself, helping others in the process as well. And admittedly, I loved YouTube and I wanted some money, but I just loved YouTube. I'm still on here, aren't I? Right? Not making those videos, but here I am. So clearly it's not just for the money. Now I was concerned about that for a little while, but it turned out, not everything's for money, although I need it now. But I was making some. I started to. It was fun, but not that much. Not as much as you guys might think. But I saw where it was going to go over time. I eventually found the right guy to teach me how to make money, and it's funny enough. I'm not going to mention his name because he's too worldly, and I don't want you guys influenced by him. Very ungodly man, which led me into sin without realizing it to an extent. But he helped me figure out how to make money. And so it's embarrassing that I have to ask you guys for help financially. But I'm going to do this, and then I'm back to bed. I'm already up past my limit. I'm sweating right now just trying to talk and set up a drum set. That's all I can do, guys. And I'm not drawing because the fatigue hurts so bad and the restlessness. I look like I'm okay, sort of. You can tell I'm tired. I'm coherent while speaking. Boy, I'm sweating. And this is me on a decent day. Very decent day with some rest, and it's still not enough. But yeah, I miss that friend quite a bit. I'd love to play music with him again. hopefully sell this drum set, try to make some money off of it, and hopefully you guys will be able to donate a little bit and help me financially. Get to Mayo Clinic to see if they can help me figure out this injury. I still need to be evaluated radiology-wise because nobody will do the radiology anywhere. I can't find anybody anywhere to do it. So my EDS doctor will probably have to step in, or my patient advocate to step in to get that radiology once we get to Mayo Clinic. I'm being so sloppy with these drums right now. And then from there, which some of you might not know, if this Mayo Clinic in Minnesota can't help me, the one in Florida has offered to help as well. And there's a geneticist there that just so happened I'm talking so much, somebody had to have noticed while watching this. Somebody that's a drummer noticed. Put the bottom head on top. Played drums for years, but I'm just not paying attention because I'm talking. Anyway, so this would have been done a very long time ago if I just did this without talking. But I wanted something to do. Anyway, the geneticist that just so happened to have met my geneticist in like Rome or somewhere in the European side of the world, I don't know where it was. This guy offered to see me if Rochester, Minnesota can't help me. So I do have a backup plan if Rochester, Minnesota can't get me surgery. But I have malls, and the doctor that I'm going to see in Minnesota, if I think about the malls, it starts to hurt. Crazy. I'm so distracted nonstop from the pain. It's the only way to survive it, is distraction. So it needs to get addressed. And some people say, oh, that was psychosomatic. It's not. But, so the surgeon there, sorry for the noise, I just realized it's probably annoying. The surgeon out in Minnesota can do Moll surgery. He's a stomach surgeon. He's a diaphragm surgeon. It's like a dream come true. And my EDS doctor saw that I found him, and I told her about him. And she told me to go see him, which is why I'm trying to get there. And I was going to go there anyhow. But so if he can't help me with the injury that's sleep depriving me, he might be able to at least help me with the malls. Although I'm scared of getting malls in any way, Moll surgery, in any way, shape, or form, because I don't want to die in surgery. Because I know I have something far worse going on. So I'm really weary of doing anything to the malls, because I've considered doing open surgery, which means they're going to cut me from here down. I apologize for the down to here. It's going to be a scar like this, roughly, a very large scar. But I'm injured in that area, and so if they cut me and open me up, graphic detail I know, and the injury moves or something happens, I could die. And this is not a joke. This is very serious. And that's very scary. So you can see why I'm hesitant to get Moll surgery and why I haven't yet. I had an opportunity in Ohio with Dr. Martinez before he retired, and I said no. Thankfully my insurance denied the emergency surgery that he wanted to do, which I don't know how you can deny something as an emergency. It's kind of confusing. But I was sick to my stomach when I saw Martinez, and no, I'm not doing it. I'm going to die. There's spasms. If I lift up, there's spasms. My whole abdomen down here is spasming right now, where I can't lift my diaphragm and my ribs up when I look up. It's like something stuck. It's sitting here and it wants to move up. It just simply can't. And so getting Moll surgery to have somebody cut me open, while I've got that going on, collapsed, if they cut me open, there's a chance it could collapse more just from common sense. And I don't want to risk it. I really don't. So that's why I haven't gotten Moll surgery. I'm even hesitant for a highly experienced Mayo Clinic surgeon to do anything on me. And until the main injury is found, which is reasonable. Common sense says that makes plenty of sense, but it makes me wonder if I need to risk it and at least get the malls addressed if he can't figure out the injury. But hopefully it won't work out that way. Hopefully he'll figure it out. Something is sitting lower. I'm injured. It's obvious. It's killing me. Very slowly, horribly. But yeah. So if he doesn't figure it out, I'll go to Florida. And though I'm fatigued, I know you guys are going to help me financially to an extent, even if it's just $5 or $10. Not all of you. And some have helped with $50 to $100 here and there, and I have about $700 saved up so far as of recording this right now. And so I know, even though I need $6,000, I'm confident you guys will help me get there, and my hand lettering art will probably get me there, and my Kadosh Life business, e-com business might get me there. But I do need help because I am exhausted and I can't be doing this on my own. I can't. I'm on disability for a reason. I'm disabled, right? I just can't do it. And so we hear of the 4-hour work week. And those of you that know Tim Ferriss will know that he regrets saying 4 hours. To be an entrepreneur, yeah, sure. Once you get experienced, you might be able to maybe, if you're lucky, get away with working less. And I know people right now that have their side hustles that became millionaires are laughing right now to the bank. I guess it doesn't matter where the head's going, I'm just being silly about it. So they're doing minimal work, sort of, and they're making a lot of money, more than me. I'm not making much of anything right now, simply because I'm too tired and hyper at the same time. But ultimately, the only way to really make money is to work hard. But I'm disabled, I can't work. Like this right here, my YouTube is my work. You guys are literally being reported for my income, the support that you guys have provided. And YouTube has always been my thing, even though, you know, the quality isn't great and I'm being noisy, when I know I should be mic'd up right now and all that stuff. But I'm tired and just can't do all that. And the other issue is that I can't make my herbal educational videos. I'm too tired to do the reading that I need. And you might ask, well, then how are you talking so much? There's a difference between talking on occasion once a week and then being bedridden for the rest of the week versus reading 3 hours a day and editing video and everything else and educating and sourcing supplements when you have akathisia and can't store stuff at home because of the akathisia and everything else, and not wanting to drop ship products that are supplements because of quality control and all of that. And I wouldn't even be able to sell the supplements right now, although I wish I could. I can't, just because I can't put in the work that I would like, and I'm not going to be one of those low-grade TikTokers that says, gotta try this supplement, it's great, and they give no detail, they don't warn anybody of side effects, they don't explain to people what these supplements are, and no matter what, it's a lot of work. And so really the only best option for me is to run Kadosh, which is a Christian gift store and clothing brand, and do the hand lettering to heal my brain, hopefully from the akathisia, practically speaking. And then this, whatever this is for now. That's really it. Otherwise, I'm exhausting myself, and I can't keep it up. I wouldn't be able to be the entrepreneur that I was once going to be. But I'm trying, I guess, in a sense. So you guys are helping me, and I don't know where my channel will be in the future, but it's here for now. And with the akathisia, you know, educate you guys on akathisia and big pharma when I have the chance. But right now, it's about me. It's Brandon's health journey right now. And you guys are along the ride for my journey. And right now, where I'm at is I am sweating from sleep deprivation. I'm trapped on rat poison by Big Pharma. and I can't get off of the medication until I get my sleep back, because I'm struggling as is. So you guys are my support system right now. I don't have a church supporting me, which I need to try, but it's like I can go to church and maybe they'll help me financially. There's been one that's helped me a little bit. That's too far for me to go to attend, but is fellowshipping with me to support me. At least the pastor is. So the thought is, do I go to the church and try to fellowship and get the support and spiritual bread that I need, the spiritual food that I need, or do I continue my occasional sermons online and continue trying to make money and talking to you guys, asking you for help, and get back on my feet and put this in the past? Like I told my friend, put this nightmare in the past and never look back. At least, you know what I mean by never look back, as in live my life. And as a counselor of mine said, get back out into the world. And he actually did say that I should try church. But then I lose reaching hundreds of people here online, so it's like, I guess the energy might be best put on here on YouTube so you guys can help me. But at the same time, people meeting me in person and seeing how bad I'm suffering, that will genuinely see the suffering because they're fellowshipping with me and walking with me, will decide by the strength of the Holy Spirit to really support me because they see how much pain I'm in. I can't show you guys all of the suffering that I go through. I just can't. I can only do it relatively superficially, though I'm giving you a decent story in my life, I guess. But ultimately, yeah, so I get conflicted. The only thing I can think of is I have no choice but to endure the sleep deprivation pain and the akathisia, and sometimes I don't know which one is worse. I've had both, one before the other, and yeah, akathisia is worse, and I'd rather have the sleep deprivation, but sleep deprivation is used to torture terrorists for a reason. It's like being eaten by your own body. I don't know how to explain it. It's like your own cells eating itself, and there's no energy, there's no rest. It's like the Bible, it says there's no rest for the wicked. It's as if I have to experience some of the no rest that the wicked will experience from the sleep deprivation. But God says, come to me, all of you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. And the Lord's been in my life, and the Spirit's worked in my life, and I know very well that He's in it, and that He has a rest offered, but that doesn't mean the akathisia is going to go away. It doesn't mean He's going to take the sleep deprivation away. But what my friend has said, his exhaustion isn't as bad because he's rested, because he has hope in heaven, and he rests in the love of Christ and everything else. So it's reduced to an extent. But even then, Apostle Paul, he was still in a prison. He was still suffering. He had been whipped and shipwrecked and everything else. He still went through physical hardships. So even with the peace of Christ and the rest of Christ, there's still suffering and pain. And as Paul said, we may be perplexed, but we're not crushed. So we are suffering, but we are not crushed because we have a hope in Christ. So I'm going to endure pain of sleep deprivation pain, and akathisia pain, and try to get to Mayo Clinic, try to find a surgeon that can figure this out before something worse happens. And Lord willing, find a way off this medication so I can feel like a human being again, and sleep and go out into the world as my counselor said. And so I didn't really have direction for where this vlog was going to go, but I wanted to talk and let you guys know me for me. The realism. I don't know. And try to kind of explain some of my life. And it helps me as well to an extent. Although I'm running off of adrenaline. I'm on adrenaline right now. This isn't me sitting down writing my story and planning out this video. This is just me saying what's on the top of my head from thinking while I'm resting. It's not a full story. I'm just going to talk and see where it goes, I guess. And then there is a journalist that I met, and he wants to do a story on my situation. He's given me advice on how to tell stories and how I need to bullet point them and be very factual and obviously persist in truth and speak truth no matter what. And you know, do it wisely, quick to listen, slow to speak. But he wants to do a story on me one day, and that might be helpful in the future, but as of right now, this is what I've got. And I know that I should probably somehow force myself to rest more and really try to hone in on the lettering art and the business more. But when you see this drum set that's worth a couple grand and my father says you can sell it, that gets me close to Mayo Clinic and might get me back on my feet. And then with your guys' help, who knows? Maybe this nightmare could end. Nobody knows what tomorrow holds. But what I was saying about the journalist and the story is that I didn't write down my story to explain this to you guys. It's not a perfect timeline, and I'm going to miss detail, but I'm trying to explain things. It's just the reason why I'm not going into perfect detail with a good timeline is because I'm so tired. I'm so tired. And the majority of you haven't gone this far into the video, but those of you that did, I think you understand. And I wonder if I was more self-controlled and just rested, really rested. I could be wrong, but maybe I could sit up and write and do what I need to do. But at the same time, I am. I'm selling this drum set. I'm getting the cymbals and everything next. Getting the money to get to Mayo Clinic to get out of this. So, thanks for listening in and hearing my story and learning more about me. And yeah, it's about me right now. Why not? That's, right. I need the help. As scripture says, cast your burdens on one another. It doesn't mean grumble and complain, spewing your grumbling. But I'm not. I'm telling you that I'm suffering and struggling and giving you a story and asking for help. So, I need the help if you're willing, even if that just means subscribing and hitting the like button and sharing this video with people. But if you have $5, $10, $1,000, I could use it. Really, I could really use it. I need it. There's a way out of this, I think. Pretty confident in that. I'm getting dizzy and stuff, so if you help me. I'm doing my part with this stuff and my art and Kadosh. And if you can do your part, whether it be subscribe and like and share the video or donate some money, you can help me out and put this behind once and for all. And from there, hopefully I'll get into talking to the journalist and continuing entrepreneurship and getting off of Social Security if I'm physically feeling able to, and educating people again on herbalism if I'm up to it, and warning people about medication side effects and the scandalism of the industry, the medical industry, and how to navigate what I went through, talking to patient advocates and everything else. And I'm going to do some of this stuff regardless. But I'm going to get this video up, focus on some doctor's appointments that I need to get done locally, and hopefully the money follows. It's going to be a while though. I think I've done some of the math. I'll do another vlog here. I still need to do my genetic analysis. I think I'm looking at like $6,000 to get to Mayo Clinic. I realized this. I should have said this earlier. My trip to Mayo Clinic that I previously was trying to do would have landed me stranded in Mayo Clinic or something, or in debt, Turned out that I didn't have enough money to pay the nurse. So I don't know what would have happened. It's not funny, actually. I don't know what would have happened if I didn't pay. So my flight getting canceled to Mayo Clinic over a year ago was actually possibly a good thing. I didn't have enough because sleep deprived me didn't do the numbers right. Or something. I don't know what happened, actually, to be honest with you. But I have the numbers now. And the numbers say sell this drum set. This is the story that I wanted to say earlier in the video. I didn't have my own drum set. My brother had one. Thousands of dollars. Mabel Tama drum set with the custom A cymbals and everything else. And I didn't have one. I had a $50 guitar. I wanted to play drums. And I remember I sat down on my brother's drum set and I played a beat perfectly. Well, as for a kid, right? Played a good beat. And my parents were like, how did you play that? And my brother's like, how did you play that? I'm like, what do you mean? You're on the other side of the wall playing drums next to me every day. Of course I can play this. And so years later, my friend gets me a kit. I don't know how he got it, or I don't know the whole story of how that worked out. I still don't understand to this day. I'm laughing because if you knew him, you'd understand why I'm laughing. And so it had this cheap shell on it. It didn't look nice like these drums look. In some way on maybe YouTube or a forum online or just being around woodworking from my dad and my grandfather, something, I don't know. I randomly came up with the idea to remove the cover on these shells. I must have gotten this idea off the internet. I don't know, took things apart, who knows. It's been so long. Probably an idea off of the internet though. I heat up this plastic cover on the shells and peel it off and remove the goo and everything, and I stained the drum set. And I might have a picture of it on this video if I edit it. And so I stained it and had, you know, some time with the drums, and they became my drum set. The bass drum was lightweight and it moved around. My dad helped me put some sandbags on the sides of the drum, the bass drum, to stop it from moving, and I used that drum set for years, all the way up until I got injured. I wasn't going to spend thousands of dollars on a drum set, although I did buy an acoustic guitar right before I got injured because I wanted to learn to sing and learn tenor singing at the time. But anyway, I had this drum set, and that's what I used all those years, and practiced Mike Johnston with that kit and some other random drums that I think my brother gave me at one point as well, because I think he must have known that I didn't have the greatest kit. Somehow I ended up with one of his or something, or not his, somebody's, I don't know. So many memories. I think it was like a friend of his as well. So I got all these hand-me-down stuff, right? But I made use of it, and it was fun, and I miss it, and this is before the realization that we all have to die and all that, and being innocent and young and not really understanding, and trying to tap into the peace of Christ to get past all that, which would be easier if I wasn't suffering so bad and so tired and in fight or flight with an akathisia that makes everything worse than it needs to be. But yeah, I had this drum set, and it was great. Learned songs and studied under Mike Johnston, got his book, and didn't get as far as I would like, which I probably mentioned somewhere in this video, just because I couldn't learn very well. But what I did learn, I was pretty good. My brother was impressed with some stuff. And we'll see if I have enough energy to hit this kit at some point. We'll see. But when I got sick, my father would have a complicated relationship with my father, and he's got bipolar and all this other stuff. I won't go. My father has some mental health issues and other things, and he thought I was done with my drum set because I put them away in the garage a little bit before I got sick because of the living situation that I had and everything else, and kind of giving up because my health was just bothering me and life in general, and living in an apartment and all that stuff. But he saw that out there, and he put it outside. He put my kit outside, and it got rained on and was left out there, and eventually he threw it out. And this is a drum set that I essentially built from scratch. I took apart and rebuilt from scratch and stained and clear coated and glossed and everything and took care of, and it was precious to me, and it got ruined. And coincidentally it looks similar to this one, and it made me wonder if my father felt bad. I don't know. Or my father just liked the same type of style of drums. I wanted actually a D-drum kit for a while. It was half electronic. It has some electronic sensors. So you could have actually, I think you could have put a screen mesh on the kit and done electric, or do both at the same time, which is what I was going to do. So I could play and record for a friend in a different state that I met on YouTube, coincidentally. And so I lost my drum set, and part of the reason why it was in the garage so long was because I switched to my electronic one.
I don't know why it does that.
I guess I can still play a little bit.
The reason why it was in the garage so long was because I switched to my electronic one, which got trashed because of akathisia once that surfaced. So yeah, but it was fun. I love drums, love music, and this is interesting. Learning paradiddles and practicing drums and the endurance and the hours that you have to spend on drums, the process is very similar to hand lettering art, to art in general. The drills that you have to do with drawing the letters and looking at other people's art is like listening to another drummer and learning from them and taking apart and playing the music slow or repeating it as much as possible until you figure out the beat, or learning methods to play from books or teachers. And it just so happened to be identical to how you do lettering. Music is an art, hand lettering is an art, and I guess some way, somehow they are in a strange way similar. And so practicing paradiddles led me to realizing that I could practice some lettering similar to the paradiddles, and the observation of what somebody's doing. This is true for anything in life, really. And I wish I would have known this years ago. I was doing this, but I didn't know that there's a legitimate observational science to this now, is that people, I'm sure other people knew back then, is that you can observe what somebody's doing, a big company or a big brand or a successful artist, etc., and deconstruct what they are doing. So like, let's say you're playing drums and you want to learn something from drums. You learn what you can from your teacher and books and everything else, but then you hear this cool thing in a band, and if you're able, nowadays we can easily. It's too easy to learn music now. Back in the day, you would play that song in slow motion and try to figure out which parts of the drums they're hitting and figure out the beat. You observe somebody, you break down what it is that you're doing, you copy it, and then you turn it into something of your own. And you could do that with business and marketing and everything, really. It's really incredible. And so learning the drums has led me to realizing that I can do the same with art, the hand lettering art, and entrepreneurship and stuff. So it's really interesting how that works out. So observation is very important. I apologize for the lighting. When I had my drum set, drums were still raised high like this, and my brother learned from somebody at the time. This is like before the internet was fully a thing. He showed me, he's like, hey, you gotta try this setup, it's way better. And I was like, what? So he tested my drum setup flat, minimalist, like this. Just, you know, just really nicely set up, raised the drum seat, and so I'm sitting in this kit. Where is the drum seat? So my brother matches everything up with the snare and the tom drum. It's not all set up right now. And brought everything really close together and close to flat instead of how it used to be back in the day, tilted like this and up, but rather flat like this. And he changed my life. He changed my life. Is this really how this kit is set up? Okay, so the kit I had that he helped me with was snare, tom, ride, and then this tom became a floor tom, and this major floor tom went here. So then we had the extra tom here with the ride and the crash and the secondary cymbals and everything else like that. And it was so much better, but it felt weird at first because I'm sitting up high like this-ish, and it took me a while, but suddenly I'm like, this is pretty nice. I'm like, whoa, this is cool. And I got used to it, and he changed my life with it. But the way I was sitting differently now just felt better with the pedal. I sit back a little bit from the drums. I'm sitting differently on the drum kit, and eventually I learned this new double kick pattern on the pedal from Mike Johnston, to where you start your foot. I wish I should be using my tripod. To where you have your foot here, and then you slide it up on the pedal to get the double kick. And so then I'm going like this. So I'm going like that with the double kick. Oops. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And so my brother sets me up with a kit, and I start practicing with Mike Johnston. I don't remember if I played with shoes or not. It's been so long. And so then I bet I could do it if I have the energy. I get into these double kicks with Mike Johnston, and I no longer needed my double bass pedal because I was able to do it all with a single pedal and a tom drum, a floor tom. So I do a double here, and then I would do a double here. And the drums are not tuned right now because I just threw them up for pictures. But I would literally just, I practiced Mike Johnston's notoriously known double pedal kicks. And Mike Johnston inspired me to have a second snare here, which where I could either play or use to hold my laptop to play music. And so that was fun too. So we'd have a drum here, floor tom here, and floor tom here. But yeah, Mike Johnston teaches me how to do this, and I better be careful the neighbors don't like drums anymore. Let me see if I can do it. It's just literally bass, bass, drum, drum. That's all it was. And this is what set me apart, although I didn't really show many people. And so I'm going to try it. I'm kind of curious. And so he taught me just to do that for hours and hours, following a tempo. And eventually, let's see if I can do it. Barely do it these days. I'm very tired, so this is very risky with my health, but let me just go slow and let me tune that. That's annoying. So even though I said I was going to play professionally, it didn't mean I ever got to the point to where I was going to. This was not very tuned. This isn't tuned very well, but man, it was reverbing bad. Even with this on here. I know it needs to be tuned more, but hey, that's not bad. I don't know where the cymbals are right now. Literally, it was just... That's it. And that leads into some crazy double kicks. Let's see what I can do. I haven't played drums in 12 years. Minus the brief moment that I was going to start a band with a friend that I met on my YouTube channel. This is an interesting angle. I'm stuck at this tempo. I can't go any faster. I don't have the ability to do the slides anymore in the pedal. It's gone. This is the intro of my YouTube video for sure. 2% battery on my phone. I got 2 cymbals up and put the silencers on because I couldn't help myself but try to play for a few minutes, but the neighbors don't like drums anymore, even though we've all been playing music here. Your life depends on it.
For the past 20 years.
Channel if you are
2% battery
Share
left
this
on my
video with
phone.
somebody
Got
that you believe
2
will be
cymbals up
interested
and
in
the
my
toms
story
at least.
and
Tune them a little
help me
bit.
financially, or
I put the silencers on.
join
for the
in on
neighbors.
my journey.
I couldn't help myself
everything
but
else,
try to
and
play
join the
a little
community
bit.
that we have here.
Played a couple songs that I
Small,
sort
but
of
still
remember,
around, which is good.
actually. Surprised.
And
I
I'll
took
see
a
you guys
calculated
in the next
risk with
video.
playing the drums.
Bye.
I'm pretty
Stay
exhausted
motivated,
now.
you urban survivors.
It was only
Grace
a few
and peace to you
songs,
from God our
but
Father and His Son Jesus Christ. Pray for me.
I wouldn't say that
and
I'm in
let's see
denial
where
of how
things
sick
go,
I
and
am, but
hopefully
I do push myself
survive.
with things that I
need
miss.
to rest.
But
I'm tired. I'm so tired. I did
took
forget
a
something about his
calculated
story,
risk
though.
with playing the drums, and now I'm exhausted.
This is what I wanted to say.
I don't know if I'll show it,
I
though.
remember now.
I'm terrible now.
I remember the story at the end of the video.
I'm surprised to know that I remember some of the songs, though. It's really wild. It's been so long. To conclude, I never had direction and consistency in my life, or anybody to be patient and to teach me patience, and to mentor me and to correct me properly and to guide me in life. And it led to me crashing and never having enough structure to succeed in life. Look where it got me. So I would urge you guys that are watching, find a mentor and find somebody that can give you structure in life if you don't have it at home. If I provide any of that to you, then keep following me. Find something and stick with it, and be patient with yourself when you're learning it. And know that things take time. Learn from others that are succeeding so you don't fall. And if you are going to fall, have somebody, just in case one falls, there is another one to protect you. Something along those lines. That's common sense wisdom there. If one falls, when there are two around, there's one that's still able. And that's very important in a situation like this. My mother was around to keep me alive and to take care of me, but she's disabled as well. So community, as much community as you can possibly get, would be a good idea. And genuine guidance. I remember I tried taking guitar lessons once when I was younger, and the guy talked to my parents afterward, and he said he couldn't even teach me a single chord. It's just because I was so tired and anxious and depressed. I just couldn't do it. I always had to learn things on my own. I don't know. My health, I guess. We'll see what I can do if I get surgery, how much of my health I can get back, and to see if I can learn better once I get my health back. I think over the years of suffering and joining the Ligonier Connect and reading God's Word has taught me to pay attention more and to retain information a little bit better than I used to, but I'm too fatigued to do it. But if I get better, maybe I'll be better than I was before with learning and structure, and hopefully do better in life. That is, if I get better, Lord willing. We'll see. Remember when I said playing the drums was a calculated risk? Well, it's 12:30 p.m. now, and I'm exhausted, and it wasn't worth it. But I was crying when I was playing the drums because I miss them so much. But rather, I miss everything. I feel so trapped and stuck. I don't know.